Hey everybody, we're back again. This is our second episode of JW Sports Dive, but we're also going to include Sports Legend Southwest, our track episode. However, we had some cancellations on that. We're expecting one of the legends to show up, but in the meantime, we're going to talk about the sports dive and what's going on. What is sports dive? Hey, that's trade rumors. That is free agency. That is everything that's going on that people are talking about, the scuttlebutt of what's going on. And we've had a lot of things happening in the NBA. We've had Damian Lillard waived. We've had a lot of things and rumors and what's going on with the Rockets. What are they going to do? They picked up, surprisingly, Clint Capella. What are they going to do? And we're going to ask our resident expert who can tell you all about the matchups of the salaries, what's going to work, what's not going to work. So we're going to turn it over to our sports dive expert, the president, Jeff Walker.
How everyone doing today?
What the Rockets also mentioned you wanted to do a shout out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do a shout out, a moment of silence for my boy, James Isaac. He lost his father a couple of days ago. The funeral will be next Saturday on the 12th. So I want to give a shout out to my boy, James Isaac, losing his father, Buck Isaac. So just a moment of silence. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's talk Rockets. Rockets right now. The Rockets are in high gear. They're in high gear. I like what they've done. I like every move they've made. Every move they've made, from re-signing the head coach, giving him an extension, to re-signing Jabari Smith, giving him a 5-year, $122 million deal, which is a pretty good deal. Okay, that's about $24 million a year. And then re-signing some of their own free agents like Jayshawn Tate, Aaron Holiday, as well as Jeff Green. Jeff Green is a chemistry guy. He's a guy to keep the young guys and in tow, so to speak, letting them know how to be a professional. So you need guys like that on the team when you got a lot of young guys. So and then also moving on and trading for Kevin Durant. Now, at the time they made that trade, a lot of people were like, oh man, they gave up too much. They gave up too much. But you got to give up quality to get quality. And I like to trade for both teams. I like what Phoenix got. Phoenix got Jalen Green. They got Dylan Brooks. And they got, with the 10th pick, they got a 7'2" center out of Duke. That was the guy I wanted the Rockets to get. But I didn't think he would still be on the board. I thought he would go between 5 and 7. That's what the mock drafts had. So I like what Phoenix got out of that trade, but I also like what we got. I like what we are. Then we come back and we sign in free agency. We signed Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, Dorian Finney-Smith, he's not a high flyer from the standpoint of putting up 30 points a game. But he's kind of like a guy, he kind of reminds me of a guy like Mario Elliott. When we signed Mario Elliott back in '93, no one knew who Mario Elliott was. No one. But Mario Elliott helped us win 2 championships. So he's one of those glue guys. That's how I see Finney-Smith. He's a glue guy. A guy that does a lot of the small things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Diving for loose balls, coming up with a key block, coming up with a key charge. He does that. And he's an outstanding 3-point shooter. Well, in addition to that, he's an outstanding defender. So I like that acquisition. Then they came back, and I'm thinking, now, how do they do this trade? How do they do this move? Because they didn't have any cap space left. So I'm thinking, how did they get Clint Capella? They signed Clint Capella to a 3-year, $21.5 million deal. So I'm like, how did they do that? They don't have the cap space. They used up the mid-class exception to sign Finney-Smith. So how did they do that? But how you do that, they're going to end up putting Cam Whitmore along with Jock Landale in a trade where they can either send those 2 guys to Atlanta or those 2 guys going to be sent to LA in the trade for Finney-Smith. What that does is that clears off some salary because the Rockets are trying their best to stay out of the luxury tax.
How is that going to work? You already announced first that you picked up Finney-Smith, and you announced that you picked up Kim. So you can announce those things before you do the back end?
You can, because I'm going to tell you why. Because we're right now, we're in the middle of an NBA moratorium. and the moratorium ends on July 6th, which is Sunday. That's when everything can start becoming official. You can't sign anyone until the moratorium ends, which is on July 6th, which is Sunday. So having said that, all you can do is agree to terms, but you can't sign anybody until July 6th. And none of these trades has been made can be finalized until July 6th. So that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for July 6th.
You're pretty sure Londale and Whitmore are gone.
They're going to be traded. It's just a matter of they're going to be traded to the Lakers. They're going to be traded to Atlanta, because what they're trying to do is, by doing this, you create some roster spots, number one. And number two, what it does is it opens up that full mid-class exception again. Like, for instance, if they're able to do this trade with the Lakers and they use most of that mid-class exception, like 98% of it, on Finney Smith, then now you use that in the trade. Now you have your mid-class exception back open. So now what you can do is the 7 million you gave to Clint Capella, which is $7 million a year, $7 million per season. Now that allows Houston to have at least another $7 million in cap space relative to the full mid-class exception to go out and get them another free agent. So that's what this does. That's what this does. So that's why you will see teams, they agree to a guy, to a contract with a guy as a free agent. Then they go ahead and see if they can work out a sign and trade, because what it does in this case, it'll open up that mid-class exception. Now they can go out and get them another free agent, because they still need another guard. In my opinion,
I was still very, very surprised about Clint Capella, who's at the end of his career. I don't think he has really much more, of course, than Londale, but he got a history of being a championship contender player. So if he can get back that form, yes, but you already got Adams and Sagoon. Unless you're gonna do something with them, I don't see it.
Let me explain something to you. Let Phil in here. Phil, you can slide in here.
Okay. Last week you asked me if I was GM for the Rockets, what would I do? And I said, go and get some more pieces. Exactly what they did. Okay. With that being said, Sagoon is versatile. He does not have to play center. He's not a natural center. So that spot is not a problem with having Clint Capella. Clint Capella is going to give you hustle points, hustle rebounds, pretty much everything I said, with the exception he's not a three-point shooter. But you got Finney Smith to do that. So, yeah, those are two areas that are going to really work out good for them, believe it or not. So I agree that those are good moves. And from the standpoint of them being much better than they were before those moves, I'm better. I think they're better.
Okay, I agree with Phil.
But
I
you're
agree
giving up
100% with Phil.
two young players for veterans. You're giving up a total future of Cam Whitmore. But I can see that if you don't mesh with somebody and you know it, why are you going through the ritual when you know y'all two don't get along? You're wasting your time. And if that's the case, I applaud him for making a move and giving that young man a chance somewhere else.
Let me go back to your point. Let me go back to what you said about Capella. I disagree with that, and I know we don't always agree on everything, but I think Capella can help them. Capella, you have to understand you're going to need three centers, because you have Steven Adams playing behind Shingun, but Steven Adams is not going to play these two games. He's just not. He's not going to play these two games. You're going to have a lot of games where you're going to have back-to-backs, where he's not going to play in that back-to-back situation. So that's when a guy like Clint Capella, now you can bring him in.
Also, they play a two big lineup sometimes.
Exactly. That's another thing. That's another point. So I agree with that. So I think Capella can help them. No, he's not a star. No, he was never a star. But I think he can come in and give them some solid minutes. He's a guy that can set good picks. And then he can run to the rim, throw up the alley-oop, and he can catch the alley-oop and dunk it. He can still do that.
He's only 31.
Huh?
He's only 31. Exactly.
He can still get rebounds. He can still get the alley-oop dunk. He can do all that. He can still do that, Carl. He's a good enough. Right now, he's a 13 center. You don't think he's good enough to be a 13 center?
Well, I am going along with the wisdom of what's the general manager name and the coach,
Raphael Stone, and
their wisdom. They in the middle of it.
Raphael Stone. What's your point?
They in the middle of it.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Carl.
They may see, hey, we need a little bit more experience here.
We can't hear you, Carl.
I
And
can
that's
hear
a
him,
little-
Jeffrey. I don't
Okay,
know about you,
let
but
me
I can
take
hear-
over. Wow, we can't hear Carl. Let me take over.
I can hear Carl.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Whoa, I can hear you, but I can't hear Carl. That's weird. I can hear
Well,
you.
well,
Okay. I
Can you
can't
hear me
hear
now,
you,
Jeff?
Carl, but Philip can.
Can you
I
hear
can
me
hear you
now?
now. I can hear you now.
Okay,
I can hear
so
you now.
what I'm saying is I trust Raphael Stone and Coach Udoka to see what are they need. They got rid of maybe an albatross and Jalen Green, you know, that they was trying to put so much behind him and he couldn't handle that. They saw that. So they took that away and they want to go in a different direction as far as, okay, what's going to be our backbone foundation. So when we get in those tough series and games, we got something to get us over the hump. So maybe, you know, I got to think he understands building chemistry. And as a part, maybe that's why they brought in Finney Smith. I don't know nothing about Finney Smith, but they do. I didn't know Coach Udoka had that much experience with Kevin Durant, but I saw the images of them together so many times. Right. So I got to trust that he's understanding what he needs to take them over the hump. Because they were a very good team last year, but they were not able to get over the hump like they should have. They were much better than Golden State, but you saw what happened. Jeff, what about Dame Lillard? What happened with that?
Excuse me?
Dame Lillard.
Damian Lillard was bought out by the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks saw little to no effort to improve their team. They already was going to lose Brook Lopez as he signed with the Clippers. So they needed to go out and get another center, and they had no ability to be able to do that. So the only way they can do that was to waive Damian Lillard and stretch his contract. The remaining $111 million on this contract, and they can stretch it out as a provision within the collective bargaining agreement.
Okay.
That allows to stretch it.
For how many years can they stretch that
5 years. For 5 years.
Oh.
So they will be paying him $22 million a year for the next 5 seasons, $22 million a year. So he gets all his money.
They got that much money they can throw away $22.5 million on a player.
They're not throwing it away. They're not throwing it away, Carl. They owe him $111 million. And they're gonna stretch it out over 5 years. They're not throwing it away.
They waived him. He's not gonna play with them.
So but his contract is guaranteed though.
Okay.
The contract guaranteed. Huh?
Yeah, well, I'm not very much into long guaranteed contract. That's why I probably wouldn't do no more than 2 years guaranteed.
Yeah, well, right now the standard is 5 years. If it's your own player, re-signing your own player, the standard is 5 years. That's the standard. So it is. It used to be longer than that. It used to be 7 years. They cut it down to 5. It used to be 7 years. Most of those guys used to get 7-year deals. You don't remember way back when we signed Brent Price and we signed Matt Maloney? Gave Matt Maloney like a 7-year deal, $18 million, and then cut him 3 months later. Didn't even make the roster. He got all 7 of those years, all 18 million, 7 years, and got cut 2 months later, and he got all his money, every last dollar of it.
He's still getting paid, isn't
he? Yeah. Yeah. So I like every move Houston has made. I really do. They really have bridged. I still think they need another guard. I really think they need another guard. So now when
I know Walter Clayton got picked up.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that when we talk about the draft. Let's come back to that. But I really thought that the only thing they need right now, in my opinion, is another guard. Because you lost Jalen Green, you haven't replaced him, and now you're gonna lose Cam Whitmore in this trade here. You really need to pick up another guard. So I'm curious to see who they pick up.
Whitmore didn't really play guard anyway, though, so that's not going to be. Whitmore didn't really play guard, so they're really not losing him in that aspect. But he's a good player that could have been a huge contributor had they given him a chance.
Yeah, swingman. It's swingman. I look at swingman, same thing. 2-3 or 2-3 is kind of interchangeable. But anyway, I think it's got to be something going on behind the scenes because the guy's too talented. The guy's 20 years old, the youngest player on your team, highly talented, highly athletic, and you want to give him away? They basically giving him away. I don't understand. There's got to be something going on in that locker room. He must not be getting along with the coaches, with his teammates. There's got to be something going on with that
Now,
guy.
when he shows up as a star somewhere else, it won't even matter.
Exactly. And if they send him to the Lakers and he end up being a star, man, they're gonna be.
It doesn't matter where they send him. If he gets playing time, he's gonna learn to play better defense and he's gonna score. So he's gonna be okay. If he stays healthy, he could get hurt, of course, but he hasn't hung with this guy. He's gonna be okay. He needs to get him.
I would rather send him to the East. If he turns into a star, I'd rather send him to the East. I don't have to play him twice a year, as opposed to in the West playing him 4 or 5 times a year plus playoffs. That's what I'm talking about.
That's yet to be seen. So it doesn't matter where they send him. We just know he's not going to be here, and that's not good to me.
Right. I'm looking at winners. In my opinion, I think Houston is one of the winners. I like what Denver has done. They traded Michael Porter, who's in and out of the lineup. He's always hurt. The guy always seems to get hurt. They traded him for Cam Johnson. I like that trade for Denver.
But they win no championship without Michael Porter Jr. Denver does not win that championship without
Michael.
That's true.
When he's healthy, I agree. When he's healthy, he's a good player. He just gets hurt a lot. They also signed Tim Hardaway Jr. and then also traded for Jonas Valanciunas. And that guy there, he's going to be playing now behind Jokic. So that gives you a nice 1-2 punch at the center spot with him and Jokic, because both of those guys are about 280 pounds. So I like what Denver has done. I like what Detroit has done, picking up, signing Caris LeVert. Also
signing that they got rid of Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, but also and also signing Duncan Robinson. I like that. I like what Atlanta has done. I like what Atlanta's done. Atlanta picked up a guard I was hoping Houston was going to pick up. A guy who's a cousin of your cousin, Shea Alexander. His name is Nickeil Alexander Walker. Signed a 4-year deal with Atlanta. I was hoping Houston was going to pick him up because he's young. He's like 26 years old. And he plays his against his cousin, Shea Alexander. He plays him real tough. So I really hope Houston will take him. But he went to Atlanta, so they got him. They also signed Luke Kennard, outstanding 3-point shooter. And then they also traded for Porzingis. And then they drafted, with the 13th pick, Derek Queen. So I like the moves of Atlanta.
Can you give a synopsis on the Texas teams? I think all of them have improved, but I think San Antonio is going to win 49 games.
Ooh,
I don't see Dallas doing better than 46 or 47. The Rockets can win up to 56 to 58 if things go well. What you think about that scenario?
I'm going to let Phil start with that. Phil, you start with it.
Dallas is going to probably be more of a surprise than any of the three, in my opinion, if everybody stays healthy. They have incredibly good bigs. It's going to be tough initially until Kyrie gets back, so maybe not as good as everybody else. But they'll be tough to beat. They're not going to be easy out. San Antonio's still very young and going to have a lot of potential. That coach is young. They just realized now Papa's not coming back. So with Houston there, with the best chance of doing everything the way they can while they can, all three of them are going to be improved. That's for sure. But Houston's first, probably Dallas. And we flip a coin between Dallas and San Antonio. Probably San Antonio right now because Kyrie's not there. But otherwise, Dallas is going to be good, much better. Everybody.
I like what the Spurs did. I think
because they have the best coach. They got Jason Kidd, and he is the best coach.
My thing is, I just still have no confidence in Anthony Davis. I'm just against him.
Because he's injury prone?
Say again?
Because he's injury prone? Is that why?
I just don't think he's proved anything when he's healthy. Now, he got the Lakers hit the right moment at the right time. The last championship they won, which was in the bubble. But, you know, I just have never seen that he rises to that level where, you know, I think he's unstoppable and he's that good.
Did you see him in this early part of his career, Carl?
Say again?
Did you see him in the early part of his career?
You talking about when he's with the Pelicans?
Yeah.
I did. I saw that. I thought that was his best phase of his career.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So you said never, maybe lately, but at one point, he's one of the top 3 or 4 guys, period, in the league.
But they weren't
Period.
winning then. They still were not
The
winning.
Lakers don't
when he
win
was
their
with the
championship.
Lakers.
No, they were not winning. We were just talking about his individual talent. I wasn't
I
talking about the
understand
team.
that. I think individual talent has to go to be effective, go toward winning. That's why I go back to that top 75. I factor in how much they won also. You know,
Paul, the Lakers don't win the championship without AD. Have you don't follow AD. You know, trust me, when that guy's healthy, he's one of the top 15 players in the league when he's healthy.
okay, well, I'm not going to agree to that. I understand that. I'm not going to agree to that though. He's not one of my favorite players, but you know, I give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see how things turn out. But you know, it really turned me against him when they added him on the top 75. But you know, that's me.
That turns you against him? Okay.
Again?
That turns you against him?
No, more against him.
More against him. Okay.
Well,
today, DeAndre Ayton finally made his decision to sign with the Lakers. So the Lakers finally get that man. They finally get that man. The Lakers were actually after Clint Capella, and it didn't work out. And then they were after some other big man. Oh, they was after Brook Lopez, and he went to the Clippers. So
that's going to be an interesting situation with DeAndre Ayton, who had trouble with Chris Paul. He had trouble in a lot of places, you know, being an underachiever. That's what Chris Paul called him. You know, he'd rather play video games than go practice. So that's going to be an interesting, but there's no denying he got a lot of talent. No denying at all. But has he eroded his talent like Greg Oden did?
No, Greg Oden was more hurt than anything.
Yeah,
he wasn't gonna
I believe, from what I heard, was an alcoholic who didn't
probably, but that list fracture knee that he had never healed. He could never get to where he was in college or the potential. He's never going to reach his potential.
A part of being
and that contributed to the alcoholism.
And you know, if you don't take care of yourself, you can get injured because you haven't done the things that you needed to.
True. But that's not a fair comparison. Between Aiden is better than him. I mean, because of he didn't go through what
Oden at one time was the #1 player.
Yeah, he was, but he never, from day one, he didn't do anything in the league. He came in with his teammate who's still in the league from Ohio State. You know,
Conley.
Yeah, Conley was just as gifted as they come, but he knew how to be a professional, whereas Oden didn't, and Oden knows that.
Yeah, you know? I agree.
But Aiden was way better coming out. I mean, to me, and he still got potential. But now
to me,
he's going to go play.
Comparable how they were in college, and you know, now Aiden had the benefit of spending his first few years in Phoenix, and he had Chris Paul there, and he had Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges. They got to the championship. He had a lot of great teammates around him. And he was very young at the time and was trying to do his best, but he might got the big head now.
Well, he won't have it in LA playing with LeBron James and Luka Doncic. He's not gonna, that won't be his problem. We just have to perform. We'll see what he's really made. We'll see what kind of heart he has and what his true ability is now, because now this may be his last chance. So we'll see.
You're right there.
Okay, now after Dame was waived by Milwaukee, the Greek freak Giannis said he's not happy about what Milwaukee did. So now there's some scuttlebutt as to whether or not he wants out. So now, with that being said, him wanting to be traded, where do you guys think he should go? Where do you guys think he would fit in best?
First of all, I'm gonna say they should have talked to him and say, hey, for the best interest of the team, this is what we need to do. First of all, Dame's not going to be able to play. He's hurt. He's not going to be able to play for a long time.
Yeah, he's going to be back
to March. This is in the best interest of the franchise. And I think at the end of the day, he's going to understand that, and he's going to Yeah, I think he was just upset with how
Okay,
it
I
was
can't hear you.
done.
Okay, I don't know if you
Maybe
can
he
hear him, Phil.
wasn't
Can you hear him,
told
Phil?
or brought into the conversation.
He could
I
have been
don't know.
told. He could have been told, and he could have been
Can you
told
hear him,
like
Phil?
management should do. Hey, this is what we're
Ooh,
gonna
I can't hear
do.
neither
It's
one
not
of them.
if we ask him, we don't know that. But at the same time, it's done. Can't put that horse back in the corral. It's done. So you move on. But we'll see what happens. But he could have been told. He could not have been told. But it's done now. And
Yes, you're right.
they're not going back. They made a move that was for the best interest of the organization. Dame ain't tripping, and he's not playing. I mean, he get a chance to, for the first time in his career, pick where he want to go. And he has a few good years left and takes a little while to recover from that kind of injury, you know? So hopefully
Was it
what happens
an
to him again.
Achilles?
Yes.
Did you all see the article on the site, Jeff, about the Achilles? I'm
Yeah.
gonna get in touch with that brother, Kes Alexander, I think his name is. And I'm gonna get in touch with him, see if we can get him on the show to talk about some of those things. But
they need to change the kind of sneakers that they wear.
They
need to change the kind of sneakers they're gonna wear. They wear. In addition to that, another way to kind of bring that down is to slow the pace by changing the shot clock from 24 seconds to 30 seconds, and then changing it from 8 seconds to 12 seconds to get above the half court line. That'll slow down the pace a little bit more, and maybe perhaps that would lead to less injuries because now you slowing down the pace.
And both of those are theories.
Just an idea of mine.
And both of those are theories that need to be tested before they can find out. I mean, it's just theories.
Yeah, okay, because I don't think necessarily that'll work. Right. If my team needs to play at a fast pace to win, we still gonna be over the half court at 8 seconds. You know, and so it's all depends.
I never understood I never understood why they shortened it from 8 to 10, from 10 to 8 anyway. I just never understood that. And I still don't even understand how they do something that they, hold on, let me finish. And I said also, I never understood why I don't have a problem with them doing it. It's done. It's just like Dame being waived, but it ain't coming back. I'm just saying, for the old school guys, you know, change is different. And you have to accept it. So it's just the way it is in sports and life. I'm just saying, I still have a hard time looking at how they line up for the lane. There's nobody on that inside box. Just the way it is. You know, everybody has to do what you have to do. The rules are the same for everybody. So doesn't stop you from being good, bad, or indifferent, or achieving your goals. It's just when that change hits, you got to assimilate.
Let me say this, Oklahoma
All right,
City.
With that being said,
I was just saying Oklahoma City has still not gotten the credit for winning the championship. And I think they have a chip on their shoulder and they're going for it next year. And I believe they're going to be the favorite again. Go ahead, Jeff.
Quick question. My quick question is this here. All right, with the NBA draft coming on and free agency, we into day 3 of free agency, and a lot of guys have already signed with the teams, not signed, but agreed to contracts with teams. My question to you guys is, who do you think in the Western Conference has closed that gap on OKC Thunder? Who do you think has closed the gap the most in the West as far as the throne in OKC Thunder?
Well, if you're talking about who's in the direct division with them, sounds like the Nuggets have the best chance, and they did take them to 7 games. So if they made the right moves to kind of close that gap, I would say the Nuggets. Now the Rockets are right there also, but they got to prove that they have gotten over the hump. So I'm gonna say those 2 teams.
Okay, what about you, Phil?
Well, I'm more of a person that holds my reservations for those kind of predictions. I say there's paper grades and there's player grades. Paper grades are what we're talking about here, but I like to see player grades when that ball is tossed and that game starts and you check those standings after about 3 or 4 weeks. That's more what I like to do, because what looks good on paper don't always translate to the court, and especially in preseason, in drafts, in training camp. None of that matters to me. When that game starts, your picks, your free agents, your coaching changes all come into view. There's no hiding. The spotlight is right there. Right now, we can analyze all we want, but it's hard for me to really see somebody saying, hey, they're gonna really do good just by what they got. Now I can like it and believe that it looks good. Like you said, Denver did do some good things. But teams, sometimes you think, take one player and remove him from that roster, or two players, and they have a whole different animal. They're good, but they're not good enough to win it all. You know, change the trajectory of their organization dramatically. And that's what happened when Oklahoma City got Gilgeous-Alexander. It takes time. Now, Carl referred to them as favorites. I can easily see that, but I'm not putting them in the championship just like that. They're going to have to earn that, and teams going to come for them every night. And it takes a lot to repeat. And we'll see what happens. It's possible.
And my opinion is they have a chip on their shoulders because people ain't giving them credit for being the best team and winning the championship, and they say that was a fluke. So they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Jeff, let me interject
I haven't heard
here.
anybody say that.
I hadn't heard anybody say that either.
I haven't heard anybody say they had the best
I
record
heard
in the
that
league.
on.
They had the best record all year.
I heard Stephen A. Smith, among others, say it.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not a bit. Look, there's a lot of people who think he walk on water. I don't, and I like the fact that he's a brother that's out there doing his thing. But I am not somebody who's gonna go sing his praises on everything he say, everything he do. And he's a funny guy in his own regard too. But he's very philosophical and intelligent, no question about it. Know his stuff, but sometimes he get to pontificating about stuff that don't matter.
I agree.
I think he's just trying to entertain. I really believe
let me
he's
interject
become
here
like
real
Kevin
quick for a
Samuels.
second.
He's trying to entertain.
He does a good job of it.
For a second, since we don't have our track segment, all the things that you wanted to talk about, let's talk about all of those. So this will be a
Can't call anymore.
great sports dive, and you talk about everything, the Astros too. But before we do that, let us go to our sponsor, who I am going to need very soon. If you could share a sponsor about A-Rocket, we'd appreciate it.
No problem. A-Rocket Moving and Storage, an established moving company since 1959, nestled in the heart of Third Ward off of 288 and Yellowstone. Peerless Street will take you straight to the facility where we have a 62,000 square foot warehouse where we can store your items, climate control. We are a full service moving company, commercial, residential, located at 3401 Quarter. Our phone number is 713-748-6024. A-Rocket Moving and Storage. DeAndre Sams, second generation owner, is the owner of the company, and it is the best small moving company, and I wouldn't say so small, in the state of Texas, actually. And so there's a lot of things that they've gotten accolades for, honored by mayors throughout this city and city council for all the things they do in the community. So give us a call, 713-748-6024, and let us be your service provider for all your moving and storage needs.
I'm real soon, within a couple of weeks, gonna need a complex moving situation because I gotta get my daughter's stuff, I gotta get my stuff, and take some of it to storage, take it to our new apartment. So I'm sure we could all work that out.
Not a problem for us, Carl. I don't know about other companies, but for us, that's just like getting up, opening the door to the office and walking in. So that won't be a problem if we're doing it.
Sounds good. I'll be talking to you and we'll work things out.
For sure.
Whatever we need to do.
For sure.
All right.
All right, Carl, back to who's as far as OKC. I think the West is going to be even tougher next year because I think Houston's going to be better. I think Denver is going to be better. I think Dallas is going to be better. I think the Spurs are going to be better. I really believe the West is going to be tough to come out of the West. I'm really enjoying what's going on right now. And your boy Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just signed a 4-year, $285 million contract. That's $71 million a year.
$70 million a year?
$71 million a year.
Almost $1 million a game.
Yep. That's huge. He just won a championship. Perfect time to cash in. Perfect time to cash in. Julius Randle signed a 3-year, $100 million deal to stay with the Knicks.
Hey, did Naz Reid get traded?
Julius Randle staying with the Timberwolves, Jeff.
Oh, Timberwolves. That's what I'm sorry. Timberwolves. You're right. All right. You're right. Timberwolves.
Did Naz Reid
Jordan Clarkson signed with the Knicks. Jordan Clarkson signed with the Knicks today.
Who's that, Jeff?
Jordan Clarkson. He got bought up by Utah. He signed with the Knicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that because he been there so long that, and he
And they
hasn't
also signed
progressed.
Mike Brown as their coach today.
For Utah,
The
That's a
Knicks.
good pickup.
Mike Brown for the Knicks.
The Knicks. Yep.
He's one
Today.
of those old school
Today.
coaches. I'm not sure well, Tim Thibodeau was an old school coach. And they got the same kind of coach. I'm not sure if he can make it there, but we'll see. You know, I'm surprised they didn't take a stab at Mark Jackson, but I guess Mark Jackson just what happened in Golden State scares everybody. You know, he coming in being a minister to the whole world. They didn't like that, I guess. But for every team to say they're not going to take a chance at him when he showed he was very successful, I don't understand that.
I think it's more.
I think the NBA doing the same.
I don't think he wants to coach. He's not begging on nobody to coach. I don't think that's a big deal for him. What was more shocking is that ESPN and ABC let him go from announcing, which he was excellent at, and that was crazy.
And Jeff Van Gundy.
Yeah, of course, that was his running buddy. But I was just talking about, you know, more or less Mark Jackson. I mean, Jeff can get a job doing a lot of different things, whereas Mark was strictly a basketball guy. Not that he couldn't, but just the way they did it, it was just not good. I'm not, you know.
I agree.
It must have been something else going on.
But it wasn't. No, it was. They got a bunch of people got laid off. It wasn't just them. It's just the way they went about it. If you feel Doris Burke can do a game better than him, then so be it.
No,
so
she can't.
She's good.
She can't. And Richard Jefferson's not better than Mark Jackson. She's not better than.
That's what I'm saying. But they feel like, and probably they're cheaper too. I mean, you got to.
That's probably the thing. They cheaper.
Because both of them, Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson, cost you a bit. But still, you know, people sacrifice what they want to sacrifice. They pay for what they want to pay for. And the rest of it is just, and you know, how you're going to look at it.
We got to think about the Clippers re-signing James Harden to a 2-year, $81.5 million deal.
Well, I knew he wasn't ever coming back here. So I don't blame him. He knew something.
$81.5 million for 2 years. Wow. I didn't think he
player option is the second year, I think, too. So they may not have to pay him this
he could be a free agent next summer. He could be a free agent again. It's a player option. You're right. It's a player option. Wow. It's a lot going on.
He's a hometown, and, you know, he's one of the 75 greatest who I wouldn't have put up there also. And he's proven when he's on his game, he can play with anybody. They do need another player to go with him and Kawhi to have a chance to get over the hump. Also, they need a fast guard. You know, if they had a Kyrie at that other spot, they would be devastating. But, you know, Harden used to be quick and fast, but now he's in his 30s and he's more technical, strategic, but he's still effective. But you still need some speed at those other spots, you know. So the Clippers need to get younger at those off spots. They did not re-sign Ben Simmons and Amir Coffey. Now Ben Simmons, I don't know who said, but he's been getting highway robbery his whole career.
Yeah,
stealing.
But, hey, they willing to pay him. The other guys have done it too, so I don't blame
him.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Nobody has done it
a lot of guys
as him with less production, I don't think. I mean,
we search hard enough, we can find somebody. He's just more visible. He's more visible. Yeah.
Exactly. Look what Royce White did to the Rockets. So they drafted him, he went to the rookie camp and all that summer league, and then as soon as they came to training camp, he told them, I can't fly. What? I can't fly.
They knew that when they drafted him too. I don't know why they didn't say that.
Yeah. Did you know that guy didn't play one game for the Rockets and he was a first-round pick and didn't play one game?
Right.
Ben Simmons actually had a couple of good years, though, didn't he not?
Huh? He did. No, he had a couple. He had a
couple of good years.
Yeah, he did. He even helped him get to the playoffs one year, and that's when they found out he wasn't going to shoot the ball. Yeah, he helped out.
Who are you talking about? Ben Simmons or you talking about Royce White?
No, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons.
Okay, all right.
Not Royce White. Okay. You're right. He never played.
Oh, that's the guy I was talking about.
And Jeff, you mentioned that the Astros had won 16 out of 20?
Yep, Astros won 16 of the last 20. I remember we had done a show maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they were sitting at 35 and 30, and we was kind of bragging on. I'm like, well, hey, they in the worst division in the league, so it's not it's hard to be in first place. They were sitting at 35 and 30 at the time. Now they're sitting at 51 and 34, so that's 16 of 20 games they've won. So outstanding, sitting in first place, 7 games up.
And that's with injuries, because Al Perez hasn't been playing none of that time.
Exactly.
And of course, your shortstop just got hurt, and you had a couple other injuries, pitching, and of course, our guy who played in the World Series, who came back and got the death threat, still hasn't been pitching well. So they're going to be okay. I mean, now they understand what the manager is like. He understands the players, and obviously the farm system is getting a little better. They got some guys they can call up. Brown is pitching well, and the trades they made are paying off.
Exactly.
All right, guys, we got to do our last segment on our Sports Legends special. Right. Our guest has joined us.
Oh, okay.
And, Jeff, if you have a final statement on your sports, we'll come back to that, okay?
Okay.
Go.
All right.
Okay. Can y'all see me, guys?
No, we can't see you. Hit video. Hit video, man.
Trying to find it. Hold on just a second. All right, here I am.
Hey, you're out at the track, huh?
Man, I'm sorry, man. My phone wasn't working. I'm out at the track working out the Afterburners Track Club. And
sounds great.
And they've been around a long time.
Yeah, they have. Hey, I want to get right into it and ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
What do you think about Michael Johnson's Grand Slam tournament and his series and how it went?
I like the idea. I think that I think they had 3 or 4 meets. I know 2 of them didn't go well for the attendance, but I think it's a great idea, and I think it's going to get even better because the sport really need it. We need it in America. I just think you got to pick the right sites, like Philadelphia and Miami. The crowd was huge, and you got to have a place where people are going to attend because the money is there from the television network. But you want, as an athlete and sponsor, you want people in the stands.
Yes. What do you think about Houston as being one of the sites?
I'm skeptical about Houston because anytime you got multiple professional organizations to compete with, that take away your audience. So okay. I think it has to be, a place like College Station, maybe a place like Austin, some that don't have a even San Antonio doesn't have a professional team to compete with.
Okay. Well, what do you think about the possibility of it ever being localized and connected on teams? Like you have a Houston team, a Miami team, relay teams that can kind of get excitement.
I like that because that's the beauty of high school and college sports is that it's a team. Even though it's an individual sport, it's still a team. And I think that would be a good selling point because, kids got to have a reason to really love track and want to stay in track because, you think about baseball, basketball, especially football, you got a reason to play in high school because, you can go to college, you can go pro. Same thing with basketball, baseball, etc. And track is, you might can go to college, but after college, most people, 95% of the athletes that run in college, that's it for them once college is over with.
Right.
It would certainly be another avenue. And the big thing, if you can bring money into it and they can make a career and a livelihood out of it, anything's possible.
Oh, definitely. And they need that. They really need that. It's just a sport that it gets the money and the time and the accolades and the attention during Olympics. It needs to be better than that.
Quincy Wilson, a youngster, do you think he's peaked too early, or do you think it's possible he can get better?
Oh, I think he's going to get better. He's a phenom. We can see that. His body's still growing. You can see that. He just got to what I would hate for them to do is go straight pro right now, right? Even because he's making money anyway. So I would like to see him go to the right program in college, maybe for a year or two, and maximum 3, to be a kid and make money, because you can make money now on the college level. You don't have to go pro to make it, because he already got a New Balance contract that's probably $1.5 million. So the money is there. I don't think that he peaked yet. Of course, he's doing some great things, but the biggest thing that he has to be careful with, and coaches, is the pressure for him to be great right now. When just let it happen. You know, he ran a 44, I guess during Olympic year. He ran a 45.3, his best this year. And, you know, so you can't put that pressure on where you say, man, I need you to run 43. Just let it happen. Because it's going to happen if you let it happen.
He's been, even some high school guys have given him some serious competition this year. I don't know if you saw, he got beat in the relay. Also, of course, his teammate dropped the stick and he had to come back and he lost in that race, but he's not without competition even in high school. So it's not like he can't even get better there.
Yeah. I mean, once you become the big dog, the face of the sport, is always going to be that hungry lion, that puppy that wants your position, that guy want to challenge you. So that's the nature of track and field, man. It's somebody in all sports. If you the man, somebody's always coming up to get you. Somebody's always going to. You're like their target. If I can just beat this guy. Well, when I was coming up, my goal was to beat Ronaldo Nehemiah. And I ran against him a couple of times. Of course, I didn't beat him, but that was my goal. So if I can beat him, then I'll be number one.
Yeah. Speaking of, you know, the big dog always getting a challenge, the United States has one of the best traditional 4x4 relays, 4x1 relays, but across the board in all of them, we're getting competition. Botswana gave the United States the greatest competition this past year and forced them to run the second best of all time. Have you seen other international teams that make it compete in the 4x1, the mixed relay, or the 4x4?
Oh man, that's scary, because first of all, we're training everybody Olympic team. That's what we're doing in America. You know, I have no problem with international athletes running for our universities, but my problem is you have too many. In other words, say, you know, what's happened to the American athletes that are not being, you're training the Olympic teams for the other countries, and you shortchanging the American athletes from scholarships. You know, so if you just say, I'm gonna give you a number. If you got 15 scholarships, 12 of them should be Americans. Give a American kid a reason to dream too. And all you're doing is like, we're gonna get beat the next time we run the 4x4. We're gonna get beat, and it might even be the 4x1 as well, because we train the athlete. If you look at every international athlete, they are 95% of them are trained at American universities. You know, and like I said, I had international athletes that's on my team when I was at SMU, and it's good. And it's good to exchange ideas and know about their culture. But I'm just saying, don't shortchange the American athletes, the American kids. Don't shortchange them in the process. That's all I'm saying.
Who was that at SMU? Sammy Koski, and I forgot the other hurdler name.
It was Sammy Koski. It was we had 2 Kenyans that ran a distance, as well as Sammy. We had 2 Nigerians. We had 3 Great British guys. We had 2 Norwegians on that team.
How many's on the team? That's a lot of foreigners to have. Like you said, if it's 15, I think that's a great idea, because when you go play basketball overseas, they only allow you a couple Americans. The rest of those guys can be whatever. So that's a good idea. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like I said, I had no problem.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what do you think about the possibility of them moving toward that idea?
Man, I would love it. I mean, I would put my name on it if I could, if it meant anything, because think about it, man. Think about it.
That makes sense.
You guys go to track with all these kids that's running track. Give them a reason to want to to continue to want to run track. You know, like you just said, that you go to any other sport in any other country, it's limited how many American players can be on a team. Same thing, Canadian football. If you go to Canadian football, there's a limit of how many American players can be on the team.
Yeah.
Why not here?
I guess here they just trying to see, but why isn't the same thing in basketball that we, you know, the same thing in basketball, we limit the number, I guess because in pro and of course in college, you want the best people. And sometimes they're a little bit better than the Americans. So, and it's all about the competition. And that's what it comes down to. Last question, brother, or last statement. Give me who you think the top 5 of all time in track and field are.
All right. Oh, that's a good one right there. And I got some answers, I hope. I had to put Carl Lewis at the top.
Okay.
Carl Lewis won the 100, the 200, got goals in 100, 200, if I'm not mistaken, the 4x1 and a long jump. Okay, and I think he did it for at least 4 or 5 Olympics straight. Am I correct? Or close to it?
Something like that, yeah.
So you got to put him up to the top. Of course, next would be Usain Bolt.
Yes.
Nobody can duplicate what he did in the 100 and the 200. You know, I know he did three straight Olympics. And he got the world record in the 100 and the 200. And next would be Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson, you know, world record in the 4 and the
200.
200.
The 200.
So that's 3, right?
That's
That's
and
3,
then you got to put the young lady that run the hurdles, McLaughlin, in there. You know, even though she's already
You put him
because
there already?
yeah, look, she haven't lost a race and when the last time you saw her lost a race?
That's
I know
4.
you can't see it, but that's who is in my background on my picture. So I'm a fan. I've been a fan since she was running in New Jersey.
Okay.
One more.
Yeah.
One more.
All right. And the next one, since I'm since I'm kind of partial to hurdlers, I got to put Ronaldo Nehemiah in there.
Okay.
Because he broke the world record and he put the hurdles as a primetime event for a while because it's always been 100. It always been the 400. So I got to put Ronaldo Nehemiah up there. 1, I'm partial, and 2, like I said, he broke the world record. And when he was a man, he made being a hurdler just as big as being a 100-meter champion.
The only one I would replace is your last one with Edwin Moses. I probably would replace, but also I might give a consideration to Jim Thorpe and what he did at that time. Also, Jackie Robinson's brother, Max Robinson, who was excellent also. Phil, do you have some?
I got one woman and 1 man, and I'm gonna be leaving. I'm not, track is not an area I know, but I have 1 woman, Flojo, and I got 1 man, Bob Hayes.
Okay.
Hey, that's good ones. Don't forget about Jesse Owens now.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, we can only get so many in there, but you're right. That's definitely. But I listen to y'all. I'm listening.
We got to have consideration for, you know, long distance runners like Kip Keino.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Keino of Kenya.
Yeah, Kenya.
You know, you got a lot of distance people. I think it's Pablo Nuri of Finland. He won several distance Olympics in a row. Jeff, did you have anybody that you wanted to mention?
I was going to say Jesse Owens. And
Say what?
Those are 2 guys I thought of right away.
Who?
Jesse Owens and Edwin Moses was my 2.
Okay, so we picked those. Who are anybody today who we should look out for? You know, when you're an intermediate hurdler, are you familiar with Carson Warholm?
Yes.
He ran a 45.9.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That was amazing. I said, if me and my dad had watched that, we'd have fell out the chair together. I mean, 45.9 in intermediate with hurdles. That was incredible. No, many people can't run a 45.9 without hurdles. So,
Yeah.
and I know he's trying to come back and beat Raj Benjamin, who's becoming one of the best of all time.
Yeah, that was an amazing race. You know, he had to do it against Raj Benjamin. I don't think that he'll beat Raj Benjamin head to head in a championship anymore, because Raj Benjamin has so much room to get better. He's faster and he's taller. But again, that was, you know, Raj Benjamin ran 46.2 and got second. So that was amazing.
That was one of the most amazing races of all time. And at a Grand Prix event coming up, I forgot where it's at, but Cindy McLaughlin is going to run the Open 400, so we can see what she's going to do. And she's going to run against Paulino and the other fast girl. So it's going to be a good race. We're going to see what's happening. You want to make a last comment about anything else going on in the world of track, Brother Dennis?
Well, I want to emphasize again that we need to stop training everybody else's Olympic teams. That's the number one. And then I just think that we need some more bigger meets in the greater Houston area, like the old days of TSU relays. TSU relays doesn't have the luster they used to have.
Yeah.
But we need something like that, some kind of way in the greater Houston area where everybody in the nation and the world want to come to. You know, growing up, man, in junior high, I said once I got there, and I wasn't even ready yet, I'm gonna do something special at TSU relays, because I used to go all the time, watch my older brothers run. I said I want everybody calling my name, and I want that back for some other kid that was like me, that has a meet that they dream about from a little kid.
And it was held at the gym too. That was a good place for it, man. It was wonderful in those days.
And I do think Houston, if done right, could be a very good venue. But I agree with you on San Antonio and Austin for right now.
The Texas relays are pretty good. The Texas relays are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
They okay, but last I went, it was only half full.
Oh, well, times I went, it was packed. I mean, I don't know what it's like now. It's been a few years, but I used to go to that.
The problem with Texas relays right now is the time of it. The best teams can't afford to run because it's a day or two before the district prelims, so they can't afford. I wouldn't even go. I went in the past when I had 2 weeks before district, but right now, if I have district a day or two before after Texas relays, I'm not taking that chance. So they need to either change the date, or the UIL need to change the date if they want Texas relays. But we need something like that, preferably. I wish TSU relays can get back to the luster they had, because it was not only great for track fans, but it was just great for the community, man. It was more than just the track meet. It was the culture of it.
Right. That's why I went. And I had never been to track guy, but I love going.
When Dave Bethany was the coach, y'all remember Dave Bethany?
Yeah. I know his son real well. I keep in touch with him.
Yeah.
I know Dave. I talk to him all the time.
It was an event, and teams from all over would come. I remember looking at Delisa Walton from Tennessee at the TSU relays. I think that was her name. Yeah, Delisa Walton. Very pretty girl. She's married to Stanley Floyd, or was married to Stanley Floyd. And she was the top runner at Tennessee. And you had teams coming from all over the country who were very prominent. And it was the race to be seen at. Right. Hey, we thank you, Dennis. I appreciate it.
Let me get
let Dennis go.
Thank you.
One more
thing.
Before
we let Dennis go.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Hey, call Dennis.
Hold on, Jeff.
Hey.
He's Jeff, stop. Go ahead.
One more thing. I want to let you guys know that I'm the head track coach at Marshall High School.
Yeah, we know.
That's what I was about to say.
Congratulations. We know.
That's what I was about to say. Congratulations, Dennis.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Hey, we're going to finish up talking about sports. You're welcome to stay, or you can be released if you want to, but we're going to let Jeff finish up with the sports.
Where are you guys practicing at, Dennis, for the afterburners?
We at Baines Middle School
and
Elkins High School some days, and Baines Middle School some days.
Gotcha. Yeah, they've been around. I heard about them 20 years ago. They've been around.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Dennis.
Hey, Dennis, congratulations again on the head coach job there at Marshall, Fort Bend Marshall. Outstanding. I see that Ralph Cooper, he posted it. So that it was really great timing for us to be able to get you on the show. So outstanding, man. We are very proud of you, man. We know you're gonna do an outstanding job at Marshall, so outstanding. But I have one question that came from the peanut gallery. My boy Siles McMorris. Do you know Siles McMorris? Siles McMorris says, huh?
I'm not
Okay,
hand, but
huh?
go ahead.
Okay, Siles McMorris says, why did you run that quarterback in around against Sterling that scored a touchdown and won the game our senior year? Raider killer. He says, why? He says, because Derek Terry still gives him a hard time. Derek Terry still gives him a hard time about it. So you want to explain that one?
Oh, I can. Even though I was fast, I didn't like to run the football, but they was hitting me late the whole game and kicking me when I was on the ground in the pile and talking about me. So I said, all right, I got something for y'all. I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run this touchdown. I ain't even throw it as a pass. I took off running. That was my get back.
Go it. All right, so
Hey, Dennis, do me a favor. When you see Ronnie Courtney, tell him about the show. I've talked to him briefly. Me and his wife is good friends, and I come to some of the basketball games, and he talked to me. Let him know we want to get him on at his earliest convenience. He has my number. I have his. But let him know how much you've been on there, how much you enjoy it, and just let him know. I'll call him in about a week.
All right.
I don't know when you're going to see him, but I'm going to call him and let him know.
Hey,
when I see him, I'm gonna try to talk him into it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna text you and keep you up with everything going on. And again, congratulations. We've been knowing each other 40 years. Excuse me, longer than that.
Yeah.
And hey, appreciate it. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Dennis.
Okay,
and good luck to you. Good luck to you.
You want to finish up?
I'm finished. I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, guys, we are at the end of our show. We're going to have another show on the 11th, July 11th, and that's our next show. Jeff, you'll be the supervisor of that show, and we'll see you then. Thank you. We're going to close it up.